Test, 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 test. Bugatti.com. Previously on Kimba TV. If you're a bull, I think your best case scenario is something like, let's sweep this bitch and let's sweep the 45 on Coinbase. And it would be like, oh. Hey, they fucking did it. The Bulls did it, y'all. Well, I mean, as soon as 41.8 broke, giggity giggity, ladies and gentlemen. Monessa, yeah, buddy, CK, what's going on? Let's just, I'm gonna keep this sweet and simple because I gotta go get brunch. I gotta go get some brunch, but let's just take it step by step. 41.8, 42 should have been resistance. Should have been resistance, man. Should have been resistance. So you know what it is? Because we already drew what it would look like if 41.8, 42 was going to get penetrated. Right? So that was it. That was kind of like, it's either going to reject or not. And like the reaction was really clear. As soon as it started to break after 41.8, 42, brap. So that's why you always want to be the dude that gets stopped out in profits and not take a realized L if you can help it. But you know what it is? I mean, you guys know what I think of what's going to happen next, right? So I'm looking for a long now. So and so let's just like first things first. I'm assuming this is a failed auction. I haven't even looked at this. But it looks like it's you know what? Okay. It actually didn't go as high as you would think. And that's okay. If you're in a short, that's awesome. And you have TPs coming up, yeah? But I'm probably looking for a long now. And this is no good now. This is really bad. This was okay before. Now it's no bueno. So you would think this is gonna have to get tapped. Something like that. Okay, so I got it. I mean, 41.8, 42 was supposed to be resistance. That fucker broke resistance. So Coinbase didn't even sweep it. Yeah, no, it's bad. It's gonna get swept. It has to get, well, it doesn't have to get swept, but we can. It's like not arguable that those are poor and weak highs. Those are poor and weak highs. So yeah, I mean it's simple for me. 41.8, 42 should have been resistance. It got and it also left a poor high, weak high up there. So common sense would just dictate that I need to start looking for a long now. Right? So that would be the higher probability play. So you know me, I'm going to just do this, and I'm going to do this. I'm probably going to put some blind limits in, and you'll probably see it on TapBit. But I'm not going to have as much data as you guys will have. So Monessa says, yeah, we want that hot entry long. Yeah, but let's be like very articulate with it again. For me, 40, like I kind of explained it yesterday too. It's bullish until the levels that are supposed to be support aren't supporting, and it's bearish until the levels of resistance are no longer resistance. So 41.8, 42 should have been resistance. And and we're gonna see if it turns into support. You can try to front run the formation of the support and try to put blind limits in, or you could sacrifice a couple $100 and have a much more sure thing. So instead of trying to blindly catch it, you could let it come, and then maybe it's like a bull div or something, right? Or like a sweep of a sweep, and then you can take it. And you can front run the edge anticipation. Like you can front run the bull div. Front running the bull div and front running the, oh, it's going to bounce here are two different things, right? But it's up to you, whatever your appetite is. Maybe you don't feel like you're front running it because the open interest as it collapses and grabs all this is really indicating to you. Let's just remember also that on this failed auction, okay, this one's a little bit different because it hit the 7.5, 786 before going to the what? The bigger 7.5, 786. So just from by the book shit, if you rejected off the smaller golden pocket, then your probability of it bouncing from the bigger golden pocket goes up a little bit. Let's not forget that, motherfuckers. And then you've got confluence with TPOs and single printas. So you could be thinking to yourself, well, I'm going to wait at the 7.5, 7.86. You could, but just you got to respect, I mean, the math is the math. So that kind of seems interesting. Yannick says that's interesting. I've never looked at smaller, larger fib probably like that. Well, they're called fractals, Yannick, so definitely nerd out. I'm not just pulling it out of my ass. It's by the book. They're called fractals. So when it hits a 7.5, it'll bounce from the 7.5 a lot of times. When it hits the golden pocket, it'll bounce from the golden pocket a lot of times. It's just extrapolations of probabilities, if that makes sense. But it's just something to remember. Don't take my word for it. Remember what I said, and then evaluate these things over the course of the next couple months or years, and you're gonna see, okay, out of 100 times it does this, and the math is the math. So you don't have to just blindly believe me. You should just remember it, and then you should see it for yourself and have your own personal bias. Roger that. But anyways, just all stuff to keep in mind. It's all probabilities. These are not guarantees. You can still have like a 60%er still go against you and lose, So you're going to just have to do the best that you can. So the level we have identified. Right? That could be an interesting level, but it doesn't mean that we're going to just blindly take it. So what kind of edge would you want? Maybe you're going to wait for it to do some goofy ass like sweep structure there, and then you're going to try to get filled after the fact. You've got, if it is really going to be a probability play, then, well, this is not realistic, okay? I don't know if this is going to just tap and then just miraculously pump again. I don't think that's realistic, but you can see the reaction should be interesting. Maybe you have to go on the smaller time frame instead of the 1 hour and see if it actually did something like this. on like a 1 minute time frame, I don't know. But you don't necessarily have to put blind limits. You could wait for a structure. It could do a sweep of a sweep. It could actually do like a bull div, and then Aquaman's trident type of shit. And it also kind of confluences the levels that we were talking about yesterday that needed to be resistance. I mean, if you look at the golden pocket, the 618, that's pixel perfect 41.7. So it's almost conceptually like you're turning resistance into support. Yeah, I think that's about it. So I'll probably be looking for a long, and given the fact that I'm gonna have to do it on the mobile app, and I'm really not gonna have that much access to CVD and open interest, I might just have to wait for um, the reaction. You'll see it on Tapbit. If I might put blind limits. Lequox is in validation tight, right? What I would say, Lequoc, is you're gonna have to live and die by the data. So if I'm gonna be looking for some sort of fractal, Fibonacci, mathematical based play, I know exactly where Kimba Box is and where the stop loss is supposed to be. That being said, from here to here, you're looking at $1,000 move. I can't afford that. That's if I were gonna do that. Yeah, I can't. I'm probably not gonna do that. So, I would say that this is probably an interesting sort of invalidation level. The 41.5. And so maybe like 41.420 just for shits and giggles. Yeah. I don't know if I would long 41.1 because then you see how like I'm not gonna like panic long this. I like my short gets stopped out when it breaches 41.8 42,000. I let this happen. I look at this. I notice that, oh shit, that is a poor and weak high compared to this now. So the probability of going up there again is now high. And mathematically, and just conceptually, things like if we don't get bullish or bearish on the penetration, we get bullish or bearish on the bullish or bearish retest. So I don't have to like try to market smash along here. I'll let it do its thing, and then I can probably see, if the squeeze looks good, if the order flow looks good. That's a pretty interesting level that I would want to take a shot at. I see that little line right there, so 41.5. So probably like a, you know, 41.8 really to 41.6 would be like the $200 entry zone, and then probably the same $200 sort of like a ATR play almost invalidation. So maybe like a $400 41.4 stop loss type of shit. And then, like, if it actually does bounce from here, I would be thinking it's a bearish retest to go lower. So I probably wouldn't long that, even though if it goes up, I actually want the bearish retest short. So that 41.8, 42, like it's a pretty important level, and I think it's pretty easy to identify as a support resistance level. Mandelo says that 40,556 low is a sweep by $2, and that was a bad low. So get down there. We have quite a few bad lows for sure. And I can only imagine some of the newer traders, some of the newer, younger lion cubs, right? Just fucking getting real frustrated because these are the moments where it's not as easy on the smaller time frame. And so you take the shots understanding the the overall sort of like bigger things. Like it's either gonna sweep the 45 motherfucker or we're gonna go low and that 39 CME is not gonna hold. So it's really like 45 or 37, 35 for me, you know? And like you can get cute trying to like look for divs and shit. But for me, that's why like even on the weekend Sunday one, I was like most likely I'm just gonna get stopped out in profit with the short. Remember when I said that? I was like, I want to get the 37, 35, but if y'all know, most likely I'm going to get stopped out in profit. And that's exactly what happened. So it's really just about understanding that, you know, you take shots. If it happens to be the one that gets you the home run, awesome. But I think it's just about being, you know, okay with like mathematical invalidations too. So got a question. I know BTC pair for every alt is key, but personally I feel like the BTC pair sweeps are getting front ran. Looking at EDC, it looks bullish. Well, so James AP, that's a great observation. What I would tell you is that it's not the first time it did or people felt like it was front running the sweeps. And so what I would have you maybe take a look at is the previous sort of altcoin bull runs right before it starts and as it's happening. You're going to have to sort of fragment those phases to your own definition, but take a look at what the altcoin bull runs look like before, or better yet, take a look at what the USDT price did when it has similar moves at the BTC trading pair as it is now. And it's always going to come down to like some form of historical pattern recognition, James. So, do you think this is the first time that the BTC pair looked like or felt like the sweeps were getting front ran by traders? Probably not. And so I guess the question would be things like, do you actually get away with the front ran, or does it eventually come back and the math ends up mathing and the sweep levels that are supposed to get swept actually do get swept? That's why like I'm being patient with like a dot long or link long, because I think 35, 37 gets swept at some point. You know, maybe the 40, maybe they actually do go back and grab that 45. And like I said, I'm going to be objective with what it's showing me. So you know, if it looks good and there's an edge, you know, that 41.6, 41.8, you know, level getting turned into support looks pretty thangity. So that's probably the way that I would answer it. But you know what though, James? On Thursday, I'm going to be back on the full computer setup. And so we can like dive into the specific altcoins more on Thursday and Friday. Let's look at some altcoins on Thursday and Friday. Like really try hard mode type of shit. Calvin says, what are your thoughts with S&P? Well, S&P doing its thing. Do you remember what I said, Calvin, last week? During the streamathon every single day, that is going to make new all-time highs. I think it's on its way. What do you think? What you think? Yeah, I mean it's got a lot more room to go. I think it's gonna make it's gonna sweep the high. If I was you and I took the 41.8 short, my invalidations would have started behind 42,000. If I was able to, if I was here and I was looking at order flow, this would have been pretty concerning, or excuse me, this right here, all right here, because it's do it, do it, do it. So when it goes like that, this is. You don't want, okay, so when open interest is going up, people are opening positions, right? So this is indicating like all of there were shorts opening right here. So and then you started having longs open. So this whole open interest thing should have just kind of started to be like, do you remember when I was talking about failed auction on this reverse side? So yeah, if you took a 41.8, you would have had a tight stop, I think, if you were gonna front run it. If you were waiting for like some sort of edge or whatever, I think you might have made saved a little bit of money, but it's just level identification. Just because you have 41.8, 42,000 identified as resistance, it doesn't mean that it's going to reject on the first attempt. It doesn't mean that it might not wick through. It's just, a level of interest. Same way that we might be looking at here to long, right? But that doesn't mean that you have to put blind limits in and then you're expecting something like that to happen. It could do this, and then you could sweep the sweep and make like a bullish div, and then get rejected at the same level, but come back for Aquaman's Trident to do a bullish retest on the golden pocket overlap, and then it can go, and that could take like 8-9 hours. Maybe it takes 2 days. So the level is Desk Slap says, yeah, I understand, but I wasn't trying to front run it, luckily. Oh, got you. Yeah, remember, it's there's two phases. There's the first part where you identify a level of interest, and then the second part is actually interpreting the data as it gets to that level and when it's at that level to confirm and make sure you actually have the edge that you would want. Fast Cash Coding says, so now pretty bullish as opposed to yesterday. Yes. Did you just get here? Make sure you rewind and get caught up so that you ask questions that are follow-up questions, so we don't waste time. Superman Crypto says, so if you get that long, you looking to TP a little at Coinbase 45. Ooh, okay. See, that's a good question, Superman Crypto. Knowing how, okay, so Superman Crypto, you've been following my last couple trades, so you know that I like to swing for home runs, but the by the book Superman Crypto actually says you would take significant TP on this sweep. So there's actually a possibility it could do this. You see this yellow line? You see this TPO point of control? You see this TPO point of control? Superman Crypto? And do you see this volume point of control? Cluster? Superman Crypto? So there's actually, the by the book, Superman Crypto says this could be a high probability. Just a sweep of this liquidity. Okay, the way that this reacted here puts a little bit more of a stronger probability that it could just be this. So like this was like a 25% scenario. Now it went up to like 32%. So yes, you know me. I would love to swing for the home run and get the 45K sweep, 45.6, 45.7, 45.8. I would love that TP, Superman Crypto. But, just like how we knew that, hey man, like this is supposed to be resistance. Hopefully no one shorted, until maybe here when you would have actually had a logical reason to do so. On like a anticipatory swing failure pattern, or even here, really. Like once you had it break down, you could have started to short 42.7. That wouldn't have been bad, right? I mean, I think we made it pretty clear, like, hey man, 41.8, 42, like that's supposed to be resistance. So you can see like exactly how well that was respected. So now you would think, okay, well, let's see if this can actually hold a support type of shit, Yeah, but Superman Crypto, see, that's a good question. That's a really good question. So yeah, technically, brother, by the book would say that's significant TP if you have a long. Okay, But you know me, am I going to TP a significant chunk? Probably not, you know? And instead, if it actually does do some goofy ass shit like that, and maybe there's like a bear div on higher time frame or whatever, you know, it'd be goofy if this is like a hidden bear div on a higher time frame, you know? Um, then yeah, I'm gonna just probably go like swing low, swing high, like this. You know, let's just say that that's the top, and I'll start shaving here. Just in case, you know, S&P, let's get it. Yeah, good question, Superman Crypto. But just probabilities, brother. And if shit like that interests you, or you're like, fuck, man, where is he getting these probabilities? Harmonicas. Okay? Not the instrument, but the Fibonacci probabilities. Roger that. So check them out. Sweet, I got you same page. Very nice, Superman Crypto. Wykanos. Grun says I waited for the bear div and got in at 43,060. Nice, 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 nice. Kazaki says nice double bottom W pattern. No, if anything, these are higher lows. Yes. Yeah, the double bottom probably would have come on a sweep of the 39,970 with a sweep structure tucking back in. Desk Slap says, what do you use the 236, 382, and 054 on the fibs? Well, they all signify, all the fib levels signify something. Desk Slap, whether it's strength or exhaustion, right? Sometimes buyers are stepping in, but also sometimes sellers are getting tired. It's important to be able to distinguish the two, but there's different levels that signify different things when it get hits after different levels. So you might want to look at and also Desk Slap. There's 20 or so, 22 or so Fibonacci levels. I have what I like, but that's because I've tried all the other ones, and this is what I like to stick with. But there's plenty of other levels that other lions love and die by too. So make sure you nerd out on the fib levels. Vishanti Vakaira Baladao. If we do the retesting golden pocket, where would you put stop loss? It'd be below 76 point control. Baladao, make sure you rewind and get caught up. Rewind and get caught up. I will still give you the answer, but you're going to miss the whole logic and thought process behind it. All right. I would probably put it behind, what did I say, chat? 41.4. All right. But rewind and get caught up. I'm going to wrap this up here. And so the raw stream itself is like 30 minutes. Yeah. But I'll tell you if you want me to, but it's 41.4. But definitely rewind and get caught up if you want to hear like the reasoning behind it. By the way, Baladao, there's no right and wrong. And one of the things that I talk about, Baladao, is what do we talk about? You need to be emotionally comfortable and prepared for getting fulfilled and stopped out. I am not going to take 1,000 per coin loss because I'm probably going to attempt, 100 and 150 on MEXC, probably like 50 on tap bit, right? So that's 200 right there, another 200, 250 on Kraken. So if I get fulfilled for 400, 450, that's a half a milli loss. I can't afford that, especially if I'm going to be shopping and not really looking at the charts. So there's individualistic elements, and everything that I tell you that you should do, I do myself. So if I get fulfilled and I put a stop loss, I can't afford that. So immediately, no. Okay. But I would probably do 41.4, something like that. Yeah. 41.6, 41.8 would be like entry zones, and then 41.4 to 41.6 would kind of be like the stop loss zones, like where you would be like, we really shouldn't be here. So if we're here that long, it's probably not good type of shit. Interdas says, are the probabilities from the harmonicas mostly from your experience, or is it mostly math? It's mostly math, but you're gonna understand from experience, these are the ones that are playing out. Intertat, just like how we talk about, you better know if you're gonna take a 1 hour bull div that you see right now. I think you should at least know if the last 2 or 3 have been working out, right? Because if you tell me that you were going to take a 1 hour bull div right now, and then I tell you, okay, but remember the last 10, literally the last 10, none of them have worked, you might want to double think that long, right? So you can identify, oh shit, it could be a Gartley, it could be a crab, it could be this, it could be a bat, it could be a that. But you still have to be able to remember, okay, but the last 2 Gartleys or the last 4 Gartleys, did they play out, yay or nay? That's where the experience would come into play. But the shapes and the probabilities themselves is all math, Intertat. Remember when we were drawing like our decision, like the way that I start to think what if? So like right now I have like 3 or 4 or 5 different what ifs, you know? What if it only bounces from the 0.5? What if it goes to the 618? What if the CVD is actually not looking bullish? What if the open interest isn't a squeeze, right? And so based off of how it happens, I can, some of these things get eliminated, and so there's only 2 possibilities left. And then based off of one happening, then there's the next branch. Amelie says, if it pumps now to 44K, do you still try 6.6 long? No. You see this, Amelie? I don't think we have to worry about that though. Coke Zero says, so if we look first for the bad highs, then a good short 43.9, 44 is in play. It is in play, but I don't really like to say it like that. The 43.9, 44 is a level of interest, but do you know if it's a good short without the data? So I don't really like to mix the 2 phases together. There's the part where you identify, okay, this might be a place where I might want to look for a short. This might be a place where I might look for a long. But the edge and the data actually tells you and gives you permission, okay, actually go ahead and take the long or go ahead and take the short. So it's hard to say that it's a good short at that level without the data. It's a good short if it's looking like there's a hidden bear div on the higher time frame, and it also looks like it might make a regular bear div on the 1 hour time frame. Right? So when you actually start to see this and it looks like this and the RSI is like really like that, then like around here you could be like, okay, it's starting to look good, right? But if the RSI is like that, then that doesn't look that great, right? Coke Zero. Bugatti, ladies and gentlemen, everybody has the plan, right? What's going on, RG Bargy? Is that a massive yellow brick wall at 44? No, that's TPO, point of control. We just talked about that though, and about, so make sure you guys get caught up. I wish I could rewind, or keep recapping for you guys, but I gotta get going here and get ready for brunch. But I will say this, Baladao, or anybody that's like a little bit behind on the ooh, shit. I'm gonna just wear this. Is that okay? You want me to change? All right, boys. I gotta get out of here. Baby girl looks good. I look like a bum right now. Living Forest says, I was trying to short at 42.8 but stopped in profit. What do you think about this trade? 42.8. Living Forest, we talked about it. Okay, y'all need. I think today was worth it. Some people are gonna miss the whole thing about fractals, so that's a failed auction, right? Living Forest. So you don't need to. Well, 42.8, I misread the numbers. The short would have been at 43, like 250. Yeah. Hey, people that were here, hello, watch out. Y'all ready? Maybe I put in some blind limits on TapBit while I'm showering or something. CK, Wood Starling, Vakara, Lacone. Hey, shorters, I'm rooting for you. Longers, I'm rooting for you. Alrighty. And like I always tell y'all, I'm perfectly fine with sacrificing a couple $100 on an entry if it means I gained an extra 10-15% edge. Okay, this isn't like some competition, ladies and gentlemen, to see who can get the juiciest shit, who can get the best Pico bottom, Pico top. This is about managing risk, right? Let's not get carried away. Sometimes I feel like it turns into like, especially when it's all dudes and shit, right? It turns into like a dick measuring contest. This is not about who has the juiciest thing, you know, who's doing the highest leverage and who got the Pico bottom and Pico top. This is about managing risk, boys. Alrighty. So you do that consistently well enough, then you're gonna juice. Alrighty, so just do your best. The levels I think are pretty well there. You know, we talked about some probabilities, okay? But there's no reason to just put blind limits. You know what I mean? Right? At least wait for like a fib retracement or something. Lord Banda says GP approaching. I know. But I you know what? I do feel true that, man. Easy to get carried away. Yeah, and it's all right. It's good to be competitive, but be competitive with yourself. Challenge yourself to do the right thing. Challenge yourself to have good discipline and follow the plan. You know. So it's at the end of the day, it's you versus you. Well, no, I feel like if you've been here since the beginning, ladies and gentlemen, you are well more than equipped. All right, it's NSW says blind limits always fuck me over. Yup. So, anyways, it's coming up in a little bit. Jedi's Kirk says got to rewind, just got here. I'm gonna end this right now, so it's gonna actually give you time to watch the whole thangity thing, and you won't have to use the rewind command. In that little short amount of time, I think you guys are prepared for the next 8 hours or so. You know. So whether it nukes through 42, whether it finds support at 41.6, whether we go back up, you know, there's certain things that are undeniable. So big levels that are supposed to be support or supposed to be resistances, those aren't really arguable. You know, is that a bad high up there? Again, yes. Right? So we broke above 41.8, 42. That should have been resistance. So I'm a little bit more bullish leaning, and those highs are also no bueno. So there's confluence, and you would think it's gonna go back up. So I'm looking for longs. All right, and we have the levels, fractals, and probabilities pretty well discussed. So alrighty, Giga Chad, Nixo, veterans, help out the younger Lion Cubs. Work together. Be nice. All right, I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I got to go get ready. 0.7860 Chibi. Enjoy your brunch. Thank you, Franson. Everybody, you too. Let me put it back on the exo for you guys. I'll regroup with you guys in a little bit. Stay safe. Peace, everybody.